Here now for reaction, Lara Logan, Fox Nation host and 16-year Afghan war journalist. Lara, great to see you this evening. I want to get your reaction to everything that we know so far. We know that the State Department is saying it can't guarantee the safe passage to the airport. The Pentagon saying today it doesn't know how many more people need to get out of Afghanistan. So not really instilling a lot of confidence here, and it's leading people to suspect that we will be in Afghanistan at the mercy of the Taliban longer than August 31st. Your thoughts?
Well, we're already in Afghanistan at the mercy of the Taliban, right? That's what you're looking at. Because one of the most telling things that I have seen in the last few days is General Austin, Lloyd Austin's face, the Secretary of Defense, when he got that question from Helen Cooper at the New York Times. And, you know, she said it sounds like we're at the mercy of the diplomacy, basically, of the Taliban, which is a staggering idea in the first place. Because these are the people that sheltered al-Qaeda, right? There is much complicit in 9/11 as al-Qaeda. And you saw the look on the Secretary of Defense's face. He wanted to, I mean, he looked to me like he wanted to explode. Because when he had to say those words, we don't have the capability to do this, what he was actually saying to you is, we don't have the political will to use our capability to do that. Because the United States military has extraordinary capability that goes way beyond what it takes to move Americans out of the country. But what he's saying is there isn't any political backing to do what it's going to take. We can't exercise our capability. And in fact, we're in a political trap here because we've made a political agreement with the Taliban, who are now apparently dictating to the world's superpower what they can and cannot do, even though they've broken their agreement over and over again. They've broken it. But the United States wants this so badly. They want the Taliban in power in Afghanistan so badly that they are not prepared to do anything that is going to make the Taliban say, you reneged on the deal and we're not delivering. Because what is actually happening here? The Taliban wants every Afghan that's heading to that airport. Because who are the people that have the most incentive to get out of the country? They are the ones who work for the government. They are the Afghan commandos, the special forces, and their families who are being hunted door to door by the Taliban. What we're not talking about when we're focused on this humanitarian disaster that is and diplomatic disaster that's unfolding before us is we're not talking about how the Taliban and al-Qaeda, by the way, their allies, have the biometrics of every Afghan that served in the armed forces. They have the names of all those who served the Afghan intelligence agencies. They have everything, and so that means so does Pakistan, because Pakistan controls everything that the Taliban do. The Taliban leadership is in Pakistan. The Taliban finances them. They recruit for them when they're wounded. Where do they go to be treated? They go across the border into Pakistan's hospitals, and they're treated for nothing in Pakistan. So Pakistan controls everything. That means Pakistan has access to everything. That means, why is Lloyd Austin, Joe Biden, why is nobody saying, hey, if we were taken by surprise, we know that Pakistan controls everything the Taliban does. So our ally Pakistan, they allowed us to be caught flat-footed. And we're not going to hold them to account for that. Wow. You know, there's so many holes to this story. It's falling apart by the second.
And President Biden, in his interview with ABC News, suggested, Lara, that he would make sure that every American got out safe. Now, surely it's going to take a little bit longer than expected. Do you think that he will pull the trigger and authorize the military forces that we need to be able to make that happen? It sounds like you don't.
Well, I never presume to know what the President of the United States is thinking or not thinking, right? But what I do, I mean, as a journalist, my job is to look at what we do know. Well, we do know that when the NSA was watching Taliban gather their forces, that we did nothing to stop them. We do know that when they took strategic ground, like the border crossing at Spin Bolbak with Pakistan, which was their main supply route, that ensured an uninterrupted logistics chain for their invasion and offensive, right? We know that the NSA and the intelligence agencies and the military did nothing about that. They didn't stop it. We know that when the Taliban was going into those cities, when we could have bombed them, we could have used our military capability, the United States did not do that. We know that when we saw sensitive military equipment been handed over to the Chinese, when we saw that heading into Iran, the U.S. didn't use its military power to stop that. So based on the U.S.'s actions so far, there is zero indication indication that they are willing to use the military power that they have, the capability that they have. They may not have it right there in Afghanistan this second, as Lloyd Austin was saying, but these politicians and generals, you know, they know exactly how to parse their words, and they're very careful, because what he said is true. We don't have the capability right there, but we have it in the region, and we have it, you know, in the ability to exercise it anytime we want. But they're choosing not to. Why? Because what I learned from very reliable sources today is that, for example, one of the reasons you had this catastrophe at Kabul airport is that the United States evacuated Bagram Air Base. They left themselves with only one option that they're not in control of fully. And that was a terrible idea. So whose idea was it? Well, actually, it was the Taliban's idea. They demanded that the United States evacuate Bagram Air Base, which is the largest base. And when the U.S. did that, we lost the capacity for air support. We crippled the Afghan Air Force. We lost the signals intelligence. We know there's a lot of capabilities that go with holding that very significant strategic ground that we gave up. And the Taliban wanted us to give it up. Why? They said this is a symbol of American power, and we want to be sure that you're leaving. And the generals, the military opposed it. The State Department pushed for it. Zalmay al-Khalilzad engineered it, and it was a gift to the Taliban. And the impact, the strategic impact, was so great that many of those Afghan cities that you saw fall in such a short period of time, that was because of the evacuation in the middle of the night of Bagram Air Base. But make no mistake, you do not take over a country. Even the Taliban doesn't take over a country in 11 days. This happened over a long period of time, and the U.S. military didn't miss it. They didn't do anything about it because the combined U.S. government, the political decision was that we're getting out and we're making this deal with the Taliban that we are under no pressure to make, because we could withdraw anytime we want. And instead of getting everyone out before you handed over Bagram Air Base, what did you do? You gave away some of your most strategic capability and ground to your enemies, and then you put yourself at their mercy. I mean, I don't think anybody is that stupid.
It's amazing the way you describe it, because there are so many people saying this administration had no strategy, but really they do have a strategy. It's just, it's unthinkable to many people. Lara, thank you so much for laying it out for us. Really appreciate your time tonight. And I want to make sure you all watch part 1 of the new season of Lara Logan Has No Agenda. That's 21st Century Terrorism Revealed. This is at Sunday at 10 p.m. Eastern on Fox News Channel. You can also watch it on FoxNation.com after it airs live.